Imagine a place where golden palaces gleam next to gray apartment buildings that look like they're from a different century, where a woman can wear stiletto heels on icy roads at 20 degrees below zero, and where a cappuccino can cost as much as a family meal at a casual diner 200 miles away. A country where unbridled luxury coexists with the most extreme simplicity, where cathedrals with domes colored like candy overlook glass skyscrapers that touch the clouds, where the most advanced technology meets traditions rooted in centuries of czarist history. Welcome to Russia, a universe of contrast that is about to reveal its deepest secrets. A journey into a contradictory soul. This is a journey that will leave you speechless because Russia is not just a country. It's a sensory experience that defies all your expectations and forces you to redefine what you thought you knew about Europe, about Asia, and everything in between. Russia spans 11 time zones, covers more than 17 million square kilometers, and is the largest country in the world. But its greatness is not measured in numbers alone. Here, every city tells a different story. Every face hides a complex soul. Every street holds memories of fallen empires and revolutions that changed the course of world history. Moscow, the capital, pulses with the frantic energy of a metropolis that never sleeps. Its streets are a permanent theater where black SUVs with tinted windows speed past old Ladas that look straight out of 70s film. Red Square, with its stones polished by millions of steps, opens before you like a stage where history itself seems to come alive. The Kremlin dominates with its red walls, while St. Basil's Cathedral explodes in a kaleidoscope of colors that defies all architectural logic. But Moscow is only the beginning. St. Petersburg, the window onto European culture that Peter the Great dreamed of and built on the swamps, welcomes you with its romantic canals and neoclassical palaces that seem suspended in time. Here, European elegance merges with the Russian soul in an embrace that speaks of literature, classical music, and white nights where the sun never fully sets. The pastel-colored facades of the palaces reflect in the Neva River, while inside the Hermitage Museum are hidden art treasures that could compete with any museum in the world. But that's not all. The Russia you see on postcards is only one of the many Russias that coexist in this immense territory. Head east, and the landscape changes radically. Siberia opens up before you like an ocean of forests and frozen plains where temperatures can drop to 50 degrees below zero. Here, life takes on different rhythms, dictated by the need to survive in conditions that would bring anyone not born and raised there to their knees. And yet, even here, you'll find modern cities, technological universities, and a population that lives with a normalcy you'll find impossible. Novosibirsk, Ekaterinburg, Vladivostok are names that evoke cosmic distances but hide vibrant communities, theaters, fashionable restaurants, and a surprisingly rich cultural life. The contrast between the center and the periphery is one of the dominant themes of contemporary Russia. While Moscow shines with ostentatious wealth, featuring luxury boutiques displaying international brands and restaurants where a dinner can cost a typical monthly rent payment for many, you only have to travel a few hundred miles to find villages where time seems to have stood still. Wooden houses painted in bright colors, meticulously tended gardens, dirt roads, and a pace of life that follows the seasons with an age-old simplicity. Yet, what you will discover now will surprise you even more. Because Russia is not just geography and architecture. Russia is its people. And the people here have a character forged by centuries of turbulent history, endless winters, and a resilience that borders on everyday heroism. Russians can seem cold and distant at first meeting. They don't easily smile at strangers, nor do they make small talk with those they don't know. But this apparent coldness hides an emotional depth and a capacity to create authentic bonds that will leave you breathless. When a Russian opens their home to you, they are opening their heart. The table will be filled with carefully prepared food. Vodka will flow, accompanied by toasts that are true declarations of affection, and the conversation will touch on deep themes ranging from philosophy to politics. from literature to the meaning of life. But there is one aspect of Russian culture that captures the attention of anyone arriving in this country. The beauty of Russian women is legendary, but it is not just a matter of aesthetics. It is a complex cultural phenomenon rooted in ancient traditions and manifested in ways that defy Western stereotypes. Russian women have a self-care routine that seems almost an act of respect toward themselves and others. It is not uncommon to see them walking on icy sidewalks in dizzying heels, impeccable makeup, and elegant clothes just to go to the grocery store. This attention to appearance is not superficiality, but an expression of a femininity that is cultivated and valued from a young age. In romantic relationships, Russian women tend to seek partners who demonstrate stability, strength of character, and a capacity for protection. Not in a paternalistic sense, but as an expression of a balance between traditional roles and modernity. The men, for their part, have been raised in a culture that teaches them to be chivalrous, to pay the bill, to open doors, to offer their coat if it's cold. These gestures, which in other parts of the world might be seen as anachronistic, are here an integral part of courtship and relationships. The expectations are clear on both sides. Women offer beauty, elegance, and the ability to create a cozy home. Men offer protection, financial stability, and respect. This traditional balance coexists with a younger generation that is redefining these roles, creating interesting tensions and dialogues between generations. But beneath this surface of daily normality lies a political reality that complicates every aspect of life in Russia. Russian democracy is an elusive concept, a word that exists on paper, but in practice takes forms that are difficult to recognize for those coming from established democracies. Elections are held regularly, parties exist, and the parliament meets. But real power is concentrated in a few hands, and dissent is managed with methods ranging from media pressure to direct intimidation. The main media outlets are state-controlled. Information is filtered and shaped to create an official narrative that is rarely publicly questioned. Political opponents face obstacles ranging from Kafkaesque bureaucracy to criminal charges that seem to materialize out of thin air. Yet, the majority of Russians seem to accept this state of affairs with a resignation rooted in history. Centuries of autocratic czarism, followed by decades of Soviet rule, have created a collective mentality that distrusts change and seeks stability even at the cost of freedom. Many Russians, especially among the older generations, regret the Soviet Union not for its ideology, but for the economic and social security it guaranteed. A job for everyone, even if poorly paid. A home, even if small. Free healthcare and education, even if of varying quality. Post-Soviet Russia brought economic freedoms and opportunities for those who could seize them, but also extreme inequality and a sense of precariousness that weighs on the daily lives of millions. Russia is this, a country where everything coexists, where nothing is ever just black or white, where every truth has its opposite and every opposite has its own internal logic. And then there are the Russians themselves, with their unique ability to laugh at difficulty, to turn adversity into amusing anecdotes, to find beauty even in the grayest situations. Their humor is dark, sharp, often incomprehensible to those unfamiliar with the culture. But it is also liberating, a way to survive a reality that often seems too heavy to bear. Which detail of this Russia struck you the most? The almost obsessive care women dedicate to their beauty, even in the most extreme conditions? The stark contrast between the ostentatious luxury of Moscow and the simplicity of Siberian villages? Or the paradoxical coexistence of personal freedoms and political control that defines the daily lives of millions of people? Write in the comments. I want to know what touched you most deeply about this journey into the Russian soul. Next week, I will take you to a city where the sacred and the profane merge in an embrace that defies all logic, where ancient mystical traditions coexist with the most advanced technology, and where the very concept of reality is questioned every day. A place that will make you redefine everything you thought you knew.